Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Thank you so much, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. Last night I was thinking about what I wanted today's video to be because although I have a lot of different video ideas that I want to do and some of them require more effort, some of them don't, I don't know, something was weighing heavy on my spirit to talk about today's topic because I am getting to a place in my life where I want to make content that I want to consume. I've been saying this for years, but what I want to consume constantly changes because I'm always evolving and changing myself. And I am all about glowing up, and I am learning so much about myself in such a short amount of time due to the rapid growth that I've been going through recently with not only the physical changes I've made to myself, but also the mental and emotional and spiritual changes. And I think that when you go through rapid growth, it naturally pushes you in a state of just being very reflective and realizations that you maybe just didn't think you would have. And I want to help out people who are similar to me or maybe just want an idea as to what they're maybe dealing with because they're confused. So we're going to do a video today on the mental glow up and the internal glow up for all of my anxious, people-pleasing types of people. Essentially for my anxious attachment style people, the people who don't have any boundaries, the people who not only don't have boundaries with others, but with themselves more importantly, and struggle to find their privacy and peace important. I think it is crucial that when we want privacy and when we want peace, that it should be coming from a place of love and not from a place of fear. I know for me, when I had started my self-love journey many years ago, a lot of the things that I was learning were coming from a place of pain and trauma and things I've went through. I would tell myself, okay, Hailey, you have to be less emotional. You have to be more pouring into yourself. You have to do X, Y, and Z because you were hurt. But what if I decided, which I have, to change that into, instead of always making it a wanting to be better because I went through something, why don't I just make it, I want to be better because I just want to be better. And I want to truly enjoy my life. Not show that I enjoy it, not pretend, not fake it till I make it, but truly every day wake up and feel purposeful and happy. And it sounds easier said than done because we have so many things that we hold on to as people. And it is important that we address those things head on so that we can actually let them go a little bit quicker and actually get to a place of peace. So I wanted to do an entire video for all of the people who are people-pleasing types, who genuinely don't know how to set boundaries, who are struggling with their mental health due to the fact that they are anxious, always super controlling about their life. They always think that people are going to come into their life and hurt them, and they struggle with finding their self-esteem, their self-worth, their value in all of that. I want to help you guys with that today. Again, I want you guys to remember, when I do these videos, it's me learning something very recently and sharing it with you guys. There have been plenty of videos that I've made in the past that probably contradict a lot of the things I say today, and I don't care. Because of the fact that I'm learning, I'm happy that I'm getting to a place where I feel like I'm becoming better. I'm not going to always agree with past versions of myself or with thoughts that I once had, because I am now realizing that sometimes those thoughts were coming from a place of pain and discomfort, and I was trying to protect myself. And although I still want to protect myself, it's not in the way that it used to be. It's not in protection so that I'm afraid of finding love or afraid of making friends or afraid of taking that position or afraid of starting that new thing. It's not that. It's more so of I'm protecting myself because I'm important, because I should, because I love myself. And it's not coming from a place of fear. It's just having access to me is where my value lies. And the more access that I give to parts of me that people don't deserve to necessarily just have outright, the less valuable I feel. So we're going to get into it today, and I hope that it can help some of you guys out. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you guys like these types of videos and girl chats from me. And follow me on Instagram. I hope that you guys like today's video as much as I enjoy making it. It's going to be a ramble. It's going to be a lot, but I think it's going to help out the right people today. So because of that, I am so happy to be making it. Let's get into today's topic. Being that it's the new year, there is literally no better time to start therapy than now because it's all about renewal and resetting and setting intentions for the remainder of the year. And BetterHelp is the perfect way to start. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. I have gotten super serious these past few months about intentionality and making sure that my mental space is good, my physical space, my emotional space, and having BetterHelp be accessible in the privacy of my own home is just a really wonderful way to set the intention for the year the way that I want to. So thank you so much, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. I am someone who is an active user of BetterHelp. I love their style of therapy. It feels very interpersonal. It's less intimidating than going out into the world and having to sit in a waiting room. It's just a really great way to talk the way you want, whether it's through phone call, video chat, or texting with a therapist that is best suited for you, that makes it just feel easier and lighter to talk about hard things. BetterHelp can match you to one of their 30,000 different therapists today based off of your preferences, your location, your work schedule, and it really is just tailored to you, which is wonderful. And it honestly gives you access to a wide range of expertise in your city. You will be matched in most cases with a therapist within 48 hours, so it's very quick, very efficient. And let's just say you don't feel connected to your therapist that you get, you can always switch it out, which is wonderful because it allows you to say, you know what, I think that there's somebody better suited for me. And then you get to keep trying until you meet someone that feels best for you. And I know I have done that in the past with my therapy and BetterHelp, and it ended up matching me with someone who I really connected with, which I thought was wonderful. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier, and more intentional life. I would love for you guys to use my code if you want to get into therapy today. It is a safe space, and I am just so happy to be sharing it with you. So my code is betterhelp.com/Hailey for 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Thank you so much, then, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into the rest of today's topic. The mental glow up for anxious people, for anxious people pleasers. The first thing we have to talk about is self-preservation. When you think about self-preservation, what do you think of? Because I think that everybody always has their own interpretation of certain things based off of their own biases or things that they think. For me, I am learning that I want to make words positive rather than negative in my life, and I want to make them work for me and do good for me rather than making me have a setback, if that makes sense. So when I think of self-preservation, I think of preserving my peace and my energy, pouring into the things that pour into me, and allowing there to be a slow growth and a slow burn into things. I also think that there are certain things that can get in the way of your self-preservation, right? There's the overthinking that you can go through, there is the insecurities, there's the low self-esteem, trauma, pain, there's a lot of things, right? And when you unpack those things, you're really able to see how you can learn and teach yourself how to preserve yourself. If you are giving all of you to everyone, and I want you guys to keep in mind, this isn't just about romantic relationships. It can be a stranger, a friend, a family member, a boss, trying to constantly drain you of everything you have. And if you are an anxious people pleaser, you tend to struggle with being able to say no, to being able to set a boundary, or you just don't want to hurt them. You don't want to upset people. And it naturally puts you in a place where you're unhappy with yourself because you either shared too much, you were thinking too much, you overextended yourself, you allowed yourself to have anxious feelings about something that you can't control, and it puts you in a spiral and in a place where you are in just survival mode. I wrote a few questions down that I ask myself when I am going through an anxious episode when it pertains to my self-preservation, because I always go back to the idea of, Hailey, you need to preserve your peace, time, and energy. So these are the questions I ask myself. Why do I care? It sounds rude, but it's not. You have to understand that a lot of the reasons why you do the things you do is because you're afraid of somebody else's reaction or idea of you. You have to ask yourself, why do I care? When it pertains to when you set a boundary, when you say no, when you take a step back, when you want to preserve your energy, when something doesn't work for you. Ask yourself, why do I care? The next question is this person better than me? Now, I like to ask myself this question because We should not be comparing ourselves to people, number one, okay? I know that it's human nature to do it, but I really want you to unlearn that habit. As someone who did it for many years and did it up until recently, it will ruin your life because you will never measure up ever, because you're always going to reset the bar. When you ask yourself, is this person better than you, better than me? I want you to really say to yourself, why do I think that this person is better than me? Is it something that they have? Is it something that they do? Is it how they look? What is it? Because you need to stop acting like you owe so much of yourself to someone or something, or putting your energy towards something based off whether or not you think this person deserves you at your best, or that you should measure up to their level of success or their level of this or that. You gotta stop. You should only be in competition with the better version of yourself. That's what I'll say. What would happen if you created a boundary? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're not going to speak to you. They're going to yell at you. They're not going to like you. And you got to ask yourself those other questions again, like, well, why do I care? And these are things that I like to tell myself and questions I like to ask myself when I am having a hard time preserving myself. I am starting to realize that saying no is becoming something that is getting easier for me the older I get, because I realize now that there's always a consequence to an action that I do for someone else if I don't want to do it. Now, I want to make this very clear. When you love someone, there are times where we will make exceptions or sacrifices in hopes that it will help that person because we just want to. But if we are constantly pouring into someone else and we are not full ourselves and we are just not prioritizing our own happiness, it is time to do that self-reflection and say to yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I not allowing myself to create a boundary, and how can I fix it? So in my new life and in my new mental glow up, I am telling myself that I do not care if somebody doesn't like the way I move. If I feel better moving in a way that best suits my life, that's all that matters. And it's not selfish. It's just making sure that you're going to be okay. You got to just teach yourself that. And I wrote this down right here. I said, you're allowed to change, grow, and unpack a new version of yourself. Sometimes it takes years of pain, rejection, anxiousness, and people pleasing for you to realize that it's draining you from your light source. Something I have learned is lessons are all the same until you learn it. It may come in different packages, but it always feels the same in the end. And I love to do the, well, Hailey, what have you learned type of conversation with myself, because although a lot of the times when we're unwilling to work on ourselves, we think that maybe a lesson is different. It usually isn't. It's usually the same. It just looks different. And for me, that has come in so many different ways when it pertains to me gossiping, me dating certain people, me thinking that someone was better than me misjudging someone, whatever it is. The lesson always came to me after I did that because I was unable and unwilling, not unable, more so unwilling and unwanting to fix that part of me. So now that I have been in a place where I'm kind of like learning to love all aspects of myself and embrace it, I'm embracing the bad, the good, the indifferent, because if you don't, then you're ignoring it, in my opinion. And I am learning that I can still grow and also still be imperfect at the same time. What a beautiful sentiment. So I wrote this here because I think this will help you guys in the conclusion of the category of self-preservation. I wrote, stop giving your all and you will feel better. Become less reactive for self-preservation. So when I think of self-preservation, there's so many different things that we can learn from actually preserving ourselves. One being, a lot of people like to associate like be nonchalant and like give zero fucks as an attitude to prove something. I no longer am in the proving it era. I'm more so in the, I just want to do it because it makes me feel better era. So I'm not reacting because it takes something out of me. It's taking away from my self-preservation. So I don't react the way I used to for the simple fact that it takes too much from me and it creates anxious feelings. As an anxious person who is always overthinking things and always running back the same loop of a situation in my head, I have learned that if I don't react or I don't respond to something, it kind of really just goes away on its own. Stop chasing for self-preservation. Now, I'm speaking specifically to women here. Why are we chasing? It's not even in our nature to do so. And I think we're doing it because of our past, which is what I discussed earlier. Traumas, pain, things that we went through, whatever it is, puts us in a position where we do the things that we do, right? So as someone who maybe at a young age, there was something that happened to you where maybe your father left or a boyfriend of yours cheated or you were constantly being disrespected time and time again, it could naturally put you in a place where you are chasing people because you are so afraid of being left that you can't handle it. Self-preservation is number one. So if I have to chase and it gets rid of that, I don't want it. So that's something that I tell myself, stop chasing. Stop chasing answers, stop chasing a reaction, stop chasing a response, stop chasing people. What is meant to be will be. Stop trying to fix everything, okay? You can't fix everything. And that is something you guys have to learn. You can't fix your parents, you can't fix your friends, you can't fix your man. People have to want to fix themselves. And even aside from people, you can't even fix everything that's not a person. You can't fix the outcome of certain situations. You can't fix the world. You can't, you can do little things, micro habits every day that will enhance and make things better, but you can't, as one person, fix everything. And you putting the weight of that on you is not smart. Okay. I saw a TikTok yesterday of a girl talking about how somebody being rude to her at like a Starbucks or, at a store or whatever would affect her whole day. And it resonated with me because I was like that too. I'm thinking, why does this person not like me? Why isn't they? And you're doing all this in your head. Like, why was that person so rude? Like, what did I do? Why am I being treated this way? Rather than preserving yourself and saying, I don't care what they think. This isn't about me. Clearly they're going through something, because if somebody chooses to pass judgment on you off of initial meet and you're meeting and interacting with this person for the first time and they're rude to you, that is more on them than it is on you. But what you are responsible for is your reaction to it. Not only your reaction, but how you choose to handle your emotions afterwards. And as someone who spent a lot of my life emotionally obsessed with everything that happened, no more. I let it go. Yeah, some things can hurt, some things can suck, some things are awful, whatever, but I can't really do much about it. What I can do is choose to extract the message or the lesson and move forward. Okay, the next way to actually mentally glow up, if you are an anxious person or a people pleaser, is to stop running from rejection. Whew, when I tell you, when I first heard this, it did something to me. Because I always thought I had high self-esteem. I was confident. I loved myself. Even when I was going through certain struggles, I thought that my self-esteem was better than maybe the average person. And I realized it wasn't when it pertained to rejection. I always tried to avoid it by either getting ahead of it, by ignoring it, by trying to persuade that person or thing, or by trying to say, well, I didn't even want that anyways. When in reality, you really cannot grow without allowing rejection into your life. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true, because there is so much to learn from things that we don't want or that feel uncomfortable for us. It is important that we say to ourselves, what is happening to me at this moment, although it hurts, I am getting something out of it that's going to help me in the future. And as someone who hates rejection, even from a complete stranger, let's just say I talked to a guy today and we're talking for a week, we hang out, we have a wonderful date, we're kissing, blah, blah, whatever. And the next day he starts to act funny and things start to get weird. I used to need to get ahead of it. Oh, let me ghost him first. Let me write a paragraph and try to get ahead of it, because I was so afraid of them literally saying the words, I don't like you, to me, because my values seemed to really be in whether or not someone liked me or not. And we're going to get to that later, because we're going to talk about value. Rejection gives you so much anxiety that you're Googling how to manipulate him, what black magic trick you can do to get him to want you, how to attract a high-level friend. And I get it. We as women, especially, and I'm talking to women at the moment because that's kind of where I resonate and lie in my messaging, we tend to like to get smarter, get ahead of things, and become very calculated in how we move through life, because we think it's going to make us better at identifying it in the future. But as someone who has done all those things, Googling how to manipulate, how to do this, how to make someone like you, blah, 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 a lot of the times things that happen to us, we cannot control, and some things we cannot even tell is going to happen. Some people really do just switch up. Some things really just happen. And we do have to just realize that, and it's okay. And allowing that rejection to come in means that you are secure with yourself. Don't let the fear of somebody not wanting you not getting picked for the job, your friend not wanting to be your friend anymore, whatever, it could be anything that you feel rejected by. Why are you letting that affect you so much that you can't get your day started, that your life is completely flipped upside down? And I get it, like as an anxious person, that used to be me, but now I'm kind of like, it's doing nothing for me, because at the end of the day, you cannot get ahead of your fate. Like, it is what it is. And yeah, there are times where we can, manipulate people, but it just doesn't last. So what I want you guys to do is to just accept the rejection, take it, and then extract the lesson. It's okay. And even if there's no lesson, okay, like it's fine. I think the lesson could just be that you handled the rejection better this time than the last time. You cannot make everyone like you. You cannot make everyone understand you. You cannot make everyone care. You are responsible for doing all of that for yourself. You're responsible for liking yourself, for understanding yourself, for caring about yourself. It is not other people's responsibility. And I think that for me, a lot of my obsession with wanting to be liked and chosen was in my external beauty. I put so much value into my looks, into how I carried myself, into my accomplishments, all of that. And again, we'll discuss that later, but it's so important that you realize that that really isn't what makes you valuable. And a lot of the people in your life who have had successful relationships or have gotten the job or the friendship, like it really was just by happen chance. I know it's hard to believe, but of course you can give tips, pointers, and ideas to people on how to get something a certain way. But when it pertains to people, it's a little bit more complicated, which is why I have been learning recently to decenter my life from not only men, but from the obsession of controlling people as a whole. It is not sustainable and it's not real. I think that when I hear a lot of the decentering men topics, it's always almost like a reverse psychology. Like, if I decenter my life from men, then I'll attract men. And I was really going into my decentering process in that way. But I realized that the real message is actually really decenter your life from men, not because you want to attract men, but because you have other things to do. You genuinely are busy. You're a woman with a life. I don't have a fear of rejection anymore because my life is whole on its own. And you can't come into it, drain me from everything, and I am going to hold so much value in this person that my life is gone because of it. Like, I will never allow that again. I no longer am trying to teach myself to be more nonchalant in hopes that it will attract someone else, because that's even stupider than going after the person itself. I think that the real end goal for me was self-love, was genuinely just finding shit to do. That's not to say that I don't want to be with someone. That's not to say that I don't want to be in love, because I do. It's just no longer the focus or the reason for my being or the reason for what I do. Even if, let's just say, I were to go and chase men, I find that to be a problem for me. And if I decenter my life from men with the hopes that it will attract men, that is also a problem for me. So what is in the center of that is decentering my life from the obsession with anyone or anything as a whole, period, except for myself. I should be obsessed and excited about things I have going on for myself, but everything else is just secondary. When I tell you it's easier said than done, it is. But you can do it, because I'm doing it right now. And it's hard, but you can do it. And I'm telling you, it will help you so much in your mental glow up with your anxious people-pleasing skills, because you'll realize that you are no longer living for others. You're no longer performing for others. You genuinely just want to enjoy your life, and you don't care what other people think. And rejection is just a part of it, because why should everyone and anyone like you? We don't like anyone and everyone, and that's okay. You get it? The next way to mentally glow up when you're an anxious person who tends to have people-pleasing problems is to search for answers within. Now, a lot of the times when we are doing that inner healing, we do avoid a lot of certain topics out of fear that it will hurt us. Every time that you are questioning how, why, or when something happens, I want you to look within. That's what I've been doing recently, and it's been helping me. Some questions I wrote down was, what can you unlearn? So for searching for answers within, what can you unlearn in your life that is causing you pain, anxious feelings, and negativity maybe? What are the things that are causing you to be that way? Is it a teaching style that your parents gave you? Did you not receive enough love? Did you not have enough people respect you? Were you always dealt a shitty deck of cards? Like, what was it? And how can you unlearn that behavior, thought, and feeling so that you can start tricking yourself? Not even tricking yourself, but improving your self-concept so that you can start having a more favorable life. What can you reparent yourself with? For me, my unlearning and reparenting go hand in hand, okay? And it is important that we take responsibility of our own lives, and we are also responsible for the things that we don't know. As sad as that sounds, we are still responsible for the things that we don't know. And for me, I was not aware for a really long time that my anxiousness of losing people, of being super attached, of not finding my value outside of my looks, I didn't realize that those things came from my childhood, came from my parent, I didn't realize that. So anyways, do that shadow work and unpacking, really figure it out. What can you also let go of? So once you've done that unlearning and that reparenting, what are some things that you can release? I know it's easier said than done, but if you're holding on to something for a very long time and it's doing you no good and it's only causing you to be anxious and it's only causing you to be a people pleaser and it's only causing you to be negative, let it go. Let it go. It's not helping you. And then the last question I had was, what should you nurture more? What are parts of you that you need to nurture more? For me, I need to give myself the grace to make mistakes and not punish myself right away. I am queen of punishing myself. I will do something stupid and I will immediately punish myself, and I will immediately default to a negative headspace where now I'm saying, you're human. Why did you do that in the first place? Give yourself the grace to figure it out. Think about it and figure out how we can fix it rather than punishing myself. And that has helped me a lot. Okay, the last way to mentally glow up for anxious people, and I think this is really important, and we're going to touch on, relationships and things like that because I think it's going to help you guys, is finding your value outside of validation. Whew. Okay, so I was watching this TikToker who was talking about how women tend to put so much value into their looks, into their status, into things like that, and that it's causing these women a lot of pain because they're realizing that their value is only rooted in what the male gaze thinks. Honestly, what the male and female gaze thinks. And it makes you angry when you don't get what you want when you've improved those things. A lot of people asked me if I've been receiving different treatment since my weight loss. And to be honest, guys, not really. I was always treated very well, and that's just the truth. But also, even if I were to receive different treatment, there is a big difference between receiving attention and receiving someone investing in you. And I'm not just talking about money investment I'm talking about somebody emotionally investing time and energy into you. I say all that to say that a lot of women shoot themselves in the foot because they think that they're doing something that's going to get them ahead in life, but in reality, it just sets you up for a different set of problems. What I'm trying to teach myself at this very moment is how to genuinely increase my value as a human being on this planet outside of the male gaze, outside of what people want from me, what society thinks I should be, and what actually is valuable to me. What's gonna make my life better? So a couple of things I wrote down are, what are your gifts and strengths? These are things that you should start figuring out and pouring into and developing in your life, because these are things that are going to increase your value as a person. And it's just going to make you feel better. And it has nothing to do with being validated. What hobbies do you have? This is a great way to find yourself, to practice self-love, to genuinely enjoy your life, and to want more for yourself. Having hobbies genuinely brings you happiness and peace that nothing else can, okay? The traits that you possess that others find difficult to have. Now, again, I'm not saying that we are in competition with other people, because we really are not. in that sense. But what traits do you have? What things about you do you have that maybe either are things that people didn't like about you when you were younger, but you're realizing more are a superpower? Like, let's just say somebody always says to you, you're just too much. You're too animated. You're too colorful. But that can actually be something that carries you in your life. You can actually do a lot with that. I know for me, I was the too much child. I was the, she talks too much, she does a lot. And I've turned it into a career because a lot of people who are too little could never sit in front of the camera the way I do. So it has helped me in my own life. So what traits do you possess that others find difficult to have? What stuff do you do just for you? Not for attention, not for validation, not for an ego boost, but what stuff do you do just for you? Now, I'm learning that I'm trying to get to a place where I do everything just for me. When I lost weight, it wasn't at the forefront of my brain of, ooh, I can't wait until men see this body. That was never my thought. When I lost weight, I got emotional because I actually really liked the way I looked. It felt like I was really just doing it for me. Now, of course, has it improved certain areas of my life to a sense? Sure, but the biggest improvement that I've seen has been my relationship with myself. My relationship with my body, my relationship with clothing, my relationship with just how I feel as a woman. And it has nothing to do with society. It has to do with the fact that I'm just genuinely happy looking in the mirror because I feel good and I feel sexy and I feel desirable to myself. At the end of the day, people are going to judge you whether you're beautiful, whether you're skinny, whether you're perfect, whether you're wonderful, whether you're not. People are going to judge you anyways. They're going to mistreat you. They're going to put you in a box. They're going to put you in a category. And I think that what has really helped me in healing my anxiousness and making it subside a little bit has been understanding that I can't change people, fix people, and make them feel a certain way. At the end of the day, all I can really do is nurture myself, reparent myself, teach myself things, love myself, increase my value by just genuinely pouring into myself in a way that I never have. I don't need to do this all or nothing mindset. Like, I never want to, do this with a guy again. I don't want to be vulnerable and I don't want to share. And I get it. Like, that's the game and all, but like, I'm not playing a game with my life. My life is very real. And I just want to live in a place where I just choose myself, where I choose myself in a healthy way that doesn't close out the world, but it just gives the world a little bit less access to parts of me that are meant to be shared later on. And I hope that this can help you guys in subsiding your feelings about just how other people move and function. I don't want you guys to allow that to penetrate your aura anymore. That is truly what this message is about. We are going to date people, meet people, whether it's a stranger, a friend, a coworker, a boss, a man, whatever, that we are going to feel like is maybe their intention is to trigger us, or we feel that it's the intention, but it's maybe not. We need to not take it as personal and let it go. You have to be very observant with the fact that others are not necessarily always going to touch the same level of self-actualization that you are. And we are in the constant business of growing, but also accepting. And you need to learn that if you're not in a perfect place right now, that is okay. And don't let anybody tell you that they are, because they're lying. I do not care anymore that I'm imperfect. I care more about the fact that I'm gonna stay in a place where I don't like. That I don't wanna do anymore. So as someone who was anxious for very long and it was affecting me negatively, and it was affecting my dating life, it was affecting my friendships, it was affecting my family relationships, my work life, and how I balance it all, I am now learning that these things that I share with you guys today are going to help you, and they've helped me really move forward in a way where I feel better about my life. I'm learning more about myself. I'm realizing that I'm imperfect, and I'm going to probably have a different perception and thought process in a few years, and that is okay. And the evolution of me is my biggest focus at the moment. I no longer want to let anything consume me to a point where I'm giving so much of myself away that I don't even recognize myself. And I'm such a people pleaser and such an anxious person that I am no longer focused on the end goal, which is true, everlasting happiness. I hope that this helped you guys. I love you guys so much. Let me know down below what your thoughts are or any stories that you want to share. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone. Mwah.